A short update on the Arowana, Pike cichlid, the injured eel, and the injured Bala shark. As you remember, I put the Arowana yesterday in the 1800 gallon. I fed it heavy yesterday, so everybody should have been pretty full, but still this morning it had the newcomer Arowana had a few bites right there on the top, and the tail is tethered. So I took it right out. Didn't want to take any chances. And put it in this 240 gallon for now. Another advantage is that this tank gets finer cut fish, so it will be easier for it to take to it than the 1800 gallon that it either gets whole fish or whole finger mullet, or just I cut it in half. The pike has been doing well, the one that Roosevelt brought to us, but it hasn't fed yet. It shows interest in food. It comes over, looks at the pellets, looks at the pieces of fish, but hasn't taken one yet. I'm hoping maybe tonight he'll take something. The belly is getting sunken a little bit from not eating. Okay, the eel, that's the injury on the tail. If you remember, I was thinking whether it was wyckii or eel on eel. Right now I think it's a eel on eel, because I've seen other eels in wyckii's little hidey holes. Not in the same with him, but in the one next to his, or next. He kind of claims both. He claimed both of them. So I've seen those eels in the neighboring opening of the cinder block. I mean, he'd be here or they would be there, or vice versa. So I don't think it was the wyckii. It was eel on eel, and moreover, that injured eel stopped feeding probably about, I want to say, a month ago, maybe even longer, which I thought was due to fighting, because his tail already was slightly beaten, but all of their tails are slightly beaten, like the one in the back right now, up there in the closer to the surface in the mid-water. Its tail is beaten too. I thought nothing much of it, but as the hunger strike persisted, and the eel is kind of lethargic too. It's a she lays around a little bit, a little too much on the sides, on the back, in the open. She lets me handle her and doesn't run away readily or quickly, so I don't know. The only thought I'm having is that maybe it's ready to spawn, and it stopped eating and started absorbing its internal organs, because this is what they do when they begin the migration back to the Sargasso Sea where they're born. The eels are the opposite of the salmon. They're born in the salt water, in the Sargasso Sea, go back to the fresh water to live the life for several decades, and then go back to the Sargasso Sea to spawn once and die. Before going back, they stop feeding, and on the way back, which takes a long time, probably half a year, they stop feeding and they start absorbing their internal organs, because they're not going to eat them anymore. So I'm thinking maybe that's why she stopped eating. They all try to swim through the pipe that brings in the water, the output of the water from the filter. All of them are trying to sometimes to swim inside, but the current is too strong, it just pushes them out. And she did too. And her face also has this whitish marks on it, which I didn't know where they're coming from. I thought it was the bite marks from other eels. They don't seem to be disappearing or healing, but maybe it'll take time. So anyhow, I mean, that's my only thought. I got the eels from Jason, of Jason's Plecos and Cichlids, and he got them from a farm in New Jersey, I think. I was trying to ask Jason how old they were. I don't remember what came of it, if he knew or if he asked his supplier. But I don't know their age, and I don't know at which age or in which circumstance they would switch into their final life stage mode, whether they have to go to the Sargasso Sea. The other eel in here is a male. He's been separated a long time ago, probably about a couple of months ago. He's been doing okay, recovered fully, eats very well. It doesn't bother her at all, not that I see anyway. No interaction. So I'm thinking maybe it was the other female in the other tank that was bothering her. If males don't touch females. That's a male, and that's a male, and this is probably the female, the bigger one. You see they all have some damage on the tails, they all bite each other on the tails. So this is normal for them, except that on that other one it got way out of hand. So once again, I don't think it's the wyckii. Wyckii just had some fin damage, I don't know from what. Maybe self-inflicted. Alright, the last fish I wanted to update you on is the Bala shark. We've been recuperating in this cichlid 2.0 tank. Many members, many peers were concerned that this is a bad tank. She might get picked on, or he or she, I don't know. It's just she, yes, that's right. That the Bala would get picked on. I think she's doing all right. I do see some scales on the bottom. You see them knocking around. That's her scales here and there. I think that they might have fallen out, you know, on their own, or were loosened or loose from the attacks. You still may be right. Maybe it's not a good tank for it to relax and be out of any risks and dangers. But I haven't seen anybody bother her, except in that initial introduction when the cichlids looked at her when I have just put her in there. So we'll see. Maybe she'll recover. She looks rough, as I said. A lot of damage from whoever was attacking her in the 1800 gallon. Well, that's our little update on the 4 fish we have concerns about. The Bala, the eel, the pike, and the new Arowana. I noticed that the Bala runs away from the cichlids, so maybe they do bother it a little bit. But at this point, I don't know if it's going to be more damage catching it again and putting it in a different tank. I'm always afraid of the final straw that a rehoming or a netting might become if ill-timed, or if the fish can't take it anymore. So unless I have a good reason, I tend to leave the fish in place. especially injured and sick fish.